After Rudy returned from the Begarit continent and mourned Paul, he experienced a deeply seated and harsh shock. Rudy was grieving, but he realized he didn't feel deep regret for anything. This was an absolute horror for him, because not only had he lost his father and brought his mentally absent mother home and cheated on his wife, but he realized that he was only, and I stress this again, only sad, just grieving, and didn't regret his behavior. He had done what he could, and this threw him into a panic. Hitogami had prophesied that he would regret something deeply, but the regret wasn't there yet. He didn't feel that he had made a terrible mistake that would haunt him for the rest of his life. This meant for him that the worst was yet to come and that the reason why Rudy would be utterly destroyed was still ahead. At this point, Rudy had already been away from home for months, and his heavily pregnant wife was alone with Norn and Aisha. Sylphie was pregnant and could hardly fight, at least not without risking a miscarriage or premature birth, and Norn and Aisha were 10 when they arrived. In other words, Rudy feared that the worst was yet to come, and that something terrible might happen to his wife, his 2 sisters, and his unborn child, something he would regret for the rest of his life. That's why he stormed into the house, and Sylphie found a completely terrified and partially armless Rudy with a bloody sleeve at her feet. And he, not her, he asked if everything was okay if she was hurt, where Norn was, all because he feared he had not suffered an enormous loss yet, as Hitogami had prophesied. And here's the thing, if he hadn't gone to Begarit, he wouldn't have met Roxy, who would have been dead. But what is this regret he would feel? Will it still happen? And spoiler alert, no. Rudy won't regret anything or anyone he did on the Begarit continent, to put it as cautiously as possible. Because Hitogami simply and straightforwardly lied to Rudy, he didn't want Roxy and Rudy to meet. That's why he led Rudy to Renoa in the first place, so he wouldn't meet Roxy. That's why he brought him together with Sylphie, so that Rudy would have a great wife by his side who would bind him to his new home. That's why he suggested the obvious to Rudy, and something Sylphie somewhat expected, namely either dating Linnea or Persena and making one of them his second wife so he would be occupied while Roxy perished in the labyrinth. But thanks to Norn, Rudy still traveled to Begarit and met Roxy, whom he saved at the last second. This is exactly what Hitogami wanted to prevent all the time. That's why he advised Rudy to trust Rudyard, because Rudyard is a superd, and Roxy has a panicked fear of this demon tribe, which prevented Roxy and Rudy from meeting in Windport. That's why Hitogami instigated the conflict with Nokopara, so that either he or Rudyard would eliminate a trusted team member of Roxy. That's why Hitogami led Rudy into a side alley to get the magic eye from Kishirika Kishirisu, just to prevent their meeting, and all of this together led to Roxy and Rudy narrowly missing each other in Windport. That's why Hitogami made Rudy's life easier on one side with his hints, but on the other hand, Hitogami would have had no problem if Rudy had died, whether by enemy hands or his own. The same goes for Roxy, because both together were necessary for the birth of the child of prophecy. Rudy's firstborn child with Roxy is the one expected by the beast folk, and Lara, Roxy's daughter, is the one who will eventually take down Hitogami. Therefore, Hitogami tries everything in his power to prevent or eliminate this child. That's why Hitogami warned Rudy so strongly that something terrible would happen if he went against his advice. It was just a lie to prevent the reunion with Roxy, and that's why Hitogami also helped Rudy, to gain more and more of his trust. And fun fact, Hitogami has the opposite of Orsted's curse. Normally, the inhabitants of the world inherently trust him if he appears to them in dreams. This wasn't the case with Rudy. He was suspicious enough not to immediately trust the unclothed and pixelated man who appeared to him in dreams, because his soul came from another world, making him immune to Hitogami's blessing or curse. So Hitogami had to work hard to earn that trust, so Rudy would trust him when it came to eliminating Lara and Roxy. And what Hitogami came up with to trap Rudy, and why Lara is so dangerous for Hitogami, we will see in Season 3. But for today, that's it. Now it's your turn. What do you think of the video and all the things Hitogami did to prevent the birth of Lara, Roxy's, and Rudy's first child? Let me know in the comments. Okay, bye.